Jose, the waiter, was asleep. He slept while momentarily pausing with a bowl of soup, slept as the cook placed the meat on a tray, and was still sleeping when he served it straight into the lap of a Swedish private tutor. He woke up to the scream. Hutchins, the stoker, was also asleep. He slept while coal rolled into the furnace, slept while lifting the shovel, and still slept as he dropped it squarely onto the chief engineer's foot. He, too, woke up to the scream. The first officer informed the captain that Jose's chronic drowsiness had taken a turn for the worse. The engineer informed the captain that Hutchins, the American stoker, now only woke up during violent outbursts. A few sailors whispered among themselves. A strange affliction seemed to be spreading on board. 2 had already caught it. The steward told Fulig Jimmy there would be trouble soon, because if anyone started checking the sick, it would turn out none of them were actually here. Only Fulig Jimmy was serving on board, thanks to his skill as a master of disguise. Fulig Jimmy simply replied that it wasn't his fault, but rather the passengers. Everyone on board was too lively. The atmosphere would calm down nicely if others got sleepy too. He promised the steward he'd try to restore the balance. The next day, he ensured the passengers' high spirits diminished. And that he really shouldn't have done. At precisely 3:30 p.m. Asian time, the Honolulu-Star continued its journey through dead calm waters at a steady 18 knots, heading for the Strait of Malacca. On the promenade deck, a salon orchestra played soft music. A passenger was telling 2 ladies that something wasn't quite right on board. Rumor had it someone showed signs of a sleeping sickness, but of course it was all being kept secret from the passengers. At 4:10 p.m. Asian time, the ship's doctor, following the captain's orders, summoned Jose Pombio, the waiter, and Wilson Hutchins, the stoker, both at once, through the steward. At 4:12 p.m., the steward retreated to his cabin and began mumbling childhood prayers, convinced they were about to be struck from the list of registered seamen. At 4:20 p.m., Jose, the waiter, appeared before the doctor, who was nervously flipping through a medical book titled Peculiar Flare-Ups of Sleeping Sickness Sparked by Scattered Cases, where even the symptoms don't seem sure what they're doing. The chapter described a ship where a single tsetse fly had stowed away in the cargo hold and managed to spread the disease even in temperate zones. The doctor looked up from his book. Jose was standing in front of him, striking a casual pose, snoring humbly.
Hello!
Who's talking?
The doctor studied him. Suspicious. Pained expression, slack features, sunken eyes, mouth slightly ajar, irregular breathing.
Do you have a headache?
Yes.
Do you smoke?
I'd rather have a drink.
I didn't offer one.
Too bad. I do smoke.
Have you ever been to Africa?
2 years ago.
Are your parents alive?
My mother is.
What did your father die of?
Local feast day. Gunfire, fireworks, shouting, and all that festive nonsense.
Drink.
Now that he's dead, I don't think so.
Sir, this is no time for jokes. This is serious. Do you feel any pain?
There's a sharp sting around my ribs.
The doctor inserted something in his ears, connected to a round amplifier, and pressed it against Jimmy's ribs.
Take a deep breath.
Jimmy grabbed the cold metal on his side and shouted,
I'm ticklish!
The doctor jumped back, roaring. To him, it felt like someone had fired a cannon next to his ear.
You fool! You nearly deafened me. Since when have you had this rib pain?
Ever since the helmsman stepped on me in the dark by accident.
Just go already.
Doctor, may I have something for my headache? It really hurts.
That was a lie. But the doctor believed him and went to the medicine cabinet. Jimmy followed. From afar, he'd already spotted a small container labeled opium. It was a commonly used medication out here, helpful for the digestive issues brought on by unfamiliar climates and food. As the doctor measured out some headache powder, A loud clatter broke the silence. The clumsy waiter had knocked over a glass from the table.
Get out of here.
Jose hurried away. But in that fleeting moment when the doctor had turned toward the sound, Jimmy slipped 6 small containers of medicine, more than half of the opium stock, into his pocket. This happened at exactly 4:44 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, 4:12 p.m., right before tea time. At 5:15 p.m., the captain addressed the passengers, urging everyone to remain calm. The ship, he assured them, was equipped with all the necessary tools to contain an epidemic. Panic broke out shortly after. 3 gentlemen who had fallen asleep after tea could only be awakened after vigorous shaking. One of them was Mr. Gould, the rather enormous tutor. He was the deepest sleeper of them all. And yet, just a short while earlier at tea time, he'd been lively and alert. Now, he was out cold. The next morning, just after breakfast, at precisely 9:27, somewhere between certain northern and southern latitudes, 2 more passengers slipped into a deep slumber. By noon, the captain instructed the radio officer to request the names of nearby vessels. Assistance might be needed. Aboard the ocean liner, a full-blown drama was unfolding. Most passengers were beginning to realize they were living through one of those eerie maritime tales they had often mocked, like the Flying Dutchman or the story of the Bounty mutineers, who, as legend had it, resorted to cannibalism. They were all quite sure that 50 years from now, this mystery would remain unsolved. A ship that glided silently into Singapore's harbor, docked by the pier, yet no passenger disembarked. No sound came from the deck. Everyone dead. A movie would be made about the tragedy of the Honolulu-Star, and couples would snuggle up in theaters to watch it. Then they'd mutter, "What nonsense!" A composer from Copenhagen dramatically demanded the captain lower the lifeboats and allow everyone to escape while they still could. When the captain refused, the composer insisted on drafting a formal protest. He fell asleep before finishing it. Passengers barricaded themselves in their cabins. Fear and foreboding took hold. But one passenger was thriving. That night, he even played a bit of piano in the bar. That man, allegedly, was Mr. Irving. His guardian would fall asleep right after every meal, deeply, for hours. At first, Irving only lingered an extra hour in the dining room. But the next day, while the epidemic raged on across both Asian and Greenwich time zones, Mr. Irving peeked into the bar, where the band was groggily playing fiery foxtrots. By midnight, the young man was humming along, his cheeks flushed, eyes sparkling, and deep down, he surely wished that this epidemic would last forever. By the 3rd day, the sleeping sickness was in full swing. After a brief exchange of telegrams, the Admiralty advised the Honolulu-Star to regularly transmit its location and course. They also recommended collecting all the flies aboard for future health inspections, to see if any of them were tsetse flies. A dramatic announcement came from an Armenian envelope manufacturer. He informed the captain, in the gravest of tones, that he had leprosy. This had only ever happened in horror plays.
This is your doing.
Yes, you told me it looked suspicious that 2 men were always asleep on board. Now it's only suspicious if anyone's awake.
How did you do it?
Opium. But no worries, everyone only got a dose labeled for severely ill patients, according to the medical guide. That can't possibly be dangerous.
If they find out, I'm an accomplice. We'll get 10 years.
Oh, come now. It's not like they'll give us medals. And I wouldn't accept one anyway.
A sharp voice called from the other side of the deck.
Hey, steward, you and the crewman, get to the cargo hold, catch some flies and bring to the doctor.
What? They're treating the flies now?
The entire crew was out hunting flies. Jimmy and the steward joined the effort. It was hellishly hot near the Indian Ocean engine room. Jimmy, working as a stoker, walked around shirtless, not just because of the heat, but because his one and only shirt was currently being worn by Jose, the waiter.
Please, end the outbreak.
Relax. No one will find out.
As they wandered through the luggage hold, Jimmy stopped by a massive trunk.
What in the... This one's built like a tank. Look.
A large sign hung from the trunk.
Idiots. Come on, let's flip this thing.
Just as they were about to lift it, someone knocked sharply from inside the trunk. Then a voice called out,
Just leave it as it is. I've been standing on my head in here since Aden.
What the...
Who are you?
Go to hell.
Well, that was new. The most brazen stowaway in the history of seafaring had just made his entrance.
Hey, you know what happens to a stowaway when there's a quarantine?
Why would the ship be quarantined?
There's an outbreak.
Did someone get infected with stupidity?
Damn it.
The steward threw open the trunk. It was empty. A second ago, someone had spoken from inside it. They stood dumbfounded. The steward crossed himself.
That's impossible.
Nice bunch, threatening me like that.
They spun around. A ragged old man was standing behind them, grinning.
Dirty Fred?
To be continued.